This problem has two parabolas that we're going to be graphing. So that means we're going to have to do two tables. So my first table I'm going to do for the top equation. And before I get ahead of myself, I want to make sure I mention that when we actually graph this, we're going to use a solid line because the inequality has the bar underneath, and we're going to shade below the graph. All right, so let's get back to my table. For my middle number here in my x values, I want to figure out negative b over 2a. B is the number that goes with the x term. This equation does not have an x term. So that means that when I do negative b over 2a, my b value is 0. So even though a is 3, it's kind of irrelevant because 0 divided by 6 is still 0. So I'm going to put 0 in the middle of my table, which means my other values I'm going to fill in as negative 1 and negative 2 and positive 1 and positive 2. At this point, you could use your calculator. I'm just going to tell you what these numbers are. So it would be 7, negative 2, negative 5, negative 2, and 7. So I'm going to go back over to the graph now, and I'm going to plot these points. So negative 2, 7 is up here. Negative 1, negative 2 would be down here. 0, negative 5, 1, negative 2, and then 2, 7. So I'm going to connect all of these dots to make a really skinny, stretched out parabola. And remember that I'm using a solid line. Oh, that wasn't so great, but you get the idea. All right, now I have to shade below. So I'm going to shade everything in yellow. And remember, my kind of silly way to remember it is if I poured water onto the parabola, it would go inside the parabola. So that means that below would be outside of the parabola. So all of this is getting shaded in yellow, everything outside the parabola. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to make a table. Before I get ahead of myself again, let's talk about what kind of a line we're going to use. This one does not have the bar underneath, so I'm going to use a dotted line. And it's greater than, so I'm going to shade above this parabola. All right, now when I do my negative b over 2a stuff again, the same thing's going to happen. This one also does not have an x term. So it's going to be 0 over 2, which is just 0, so that goes in the middle of my table. So my x values are actually going to match. And then if you put this into your calculator, again, I'm not going to show you how to do that in this video, but I'm just going to write down the numbers. If you are really curious, you can go back and watch the 6.9 video. And then this would be 1. So I'm going to do my other parabola in purple. So negative 2, 1 would be here. Negative 1, negative 2. So you can see that they have a point that overlaps. 0, negative 3. 1, negative 2, another overlapping point. And then 2, 1. All right, so this one I'm going to attempt to do a good job so you can kind of see how these two parabolas are fitting together here. So the blue one is kind of inside of the purple one. I didn't do a great job drawing the blue one though. All right, so now for my shading. I'm going to do this in blue. I'm shading above the parabola. So that means everything inside the parabola is going to get shaded. So this is going to be a little bit strange. So I'm going to try to do this so I can actually show it pretty well. So everything inside the purple parabola is getting shaded. And it's a little bit hard to see, but the part that is the solution is this part that's kind of on, it's inside the purple parabola, but it's outside the blue parabola. You can see like a little green streak. So like right in here, that part on the outside and this part on the outside. So that those little slivers are the solution to this problem.